Welcome to Local Sports Wrap Up. I'm Ken Brown, and I'm here with my man Odds Jones. Odds, how you doing?
Doing good. They told me I had to go by my real name today because my hair's down. Oh. That's what they told me. That's what Barb said.
Joel Odds. Yeah. How you doing today, bud?
Pretty good. Yeah. Fun weekend of watching a Super Wild Card weekend, and of course, I took in a lot of hockey. And then had the another long holiday weekend, which, municipal services, I can't get enough of those. So put a few more on the calendar. What about you?
No, it's good. Today is January 17th.
That's right.
2023. And how I know this date so well, it's my daughter turns 21 today. Happy birthday, Kayla. 21 years old. And that's crazy that I got 4 kids over the age of 21 now.
Yeah.
2 to go. But happy birthday, Kayla.
Life will do that to you.
Yeah, it'll turn fast.
Yeah.
Useless facts, though, right? You ready? January 17th, Muhammad Ali's birthday.
Okay.
Michelle Obama's birthday and Caleb Brown's birthday.
Your daughter.
Yeah, useless facts.
Setting the bar high.
Yeah. And that's where we keep them, right there. So she has to fit in there, right?
That's all.
Yeah, no pressure. But no, I think it was a great weekend. You mentioned the wild card. You know what? Last week on Local Sports, we didn't get to talk about it. They kind of talked us out of it for a second.
That's right.
But the Lions looked really good on their last game of the year.
Yeah.
I still think the greatest play is the hook and ladder on a little play to the flat.
Yep.
And then you flip it back to Swift, and he's gone.
The thing about the Lions the second half of the season, it wasn't just the winning that made them so much fun to watch. It was the gutsy play calling by Dan Campbell. A play like that, I'm watching that game, I'm like, is this the Chiefs game? You don't see stuff like that from just any old offense.
No. And me and you talked about it a little bit off camera. I just wish they were playing. I wish Seattle would have won because I want to see if you have the guts to call that play when it matters. Because to me, if you're calling that play to get into the playoffs, you've changed the game. I know everybody in the locker room is really stoked. Mm-hmm. When that play call, when they call that play, you're like, what? We're going to run it now? Nah, so.
I'm going to give the coaching staff benefit of the doubt and say that they would have called it regardless. I think for the Lions organization, the Green Bay Packers, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or the Brett Favre era, for the most part, have taken the Lions to the tool shed and just beat their brains out. I think to be able to win that game in Lambeau and say to the Packers, hey, guess who else is sitting on the couch with us? I think there were certain statement plays in that game that were designed for that express purpose. Like, this isn't just a moral victory. This is a psychological victory. This is exercising the football demons. And next year, I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going to be at the top of the division. I don't think they're going to be in the conversation. Gotcha. And I think that's what some of those play calls in that game was about.
No, I could see that. It was kind of like the passing of the torch, right? Even when you saw Rodgers leave, it looked fishy.
Yeah.
Why he wanted to make sure he hugged Cobb and different stuff like that. But I thought it was a good thing. And last night on the Dallas Cowboy game, since it was a Monday night game, I watched the Eli and Peyton version.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell came on, and it was great. Just how down to earth he is. Mm-hmm. He had the old school D hat on, and he was just letting them know that, hey, Detroit's here to stay. Yeah. And this is what you're saying is like a change in culture in this organization. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Manning cast is fun because, okay, yeah, 2 former quarterbacks, of course, but they're brothers, and they act like brothers, and that's what makes it so interesting to watch.
And I think that they're funny, and I don't know if it's on purpose, if that makes any sense.
No,
it's like they're funny to look at and laugh at.
They're kind of corny at times.
Yeah. So, no, I enjoy watching it from that standpoint. The other thing that we had an opportunity to do, and we mentioned it a lot last week, was we actually had a chance to go into Bears Den.
Yep.
The gym, not the show.
Right.
We went into the Bears Den to watch the game on Thursday, and while it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, it was a good opportunity for us to see them in person and see what that gym looks like with the stadium full against a rival. So the game we're talking about, the Bears actually played Lincoln Park, and Lincoln Park came in and they were athletic, right?
Oh, yeah.
They were bigger,
stronger, faster, yeah.
than Wyandotte. But at the same time, you never saw quit in Wyandotte, and I thought that was refreshing. Even when the point guard, and I'm thinking he was the star because of the shot selection that he took.
Yeah.
But even when he got in foul trouble, they didn't stop. They didn't waver. They kept fighting, and that was good to see from such a young team.
Yeah, and it was. I said it behind the scenes a number of times. I think I told you and Kevin, who called the game, you guys did a good job making a game interesting that could have very well not been interesting. I mean, at a certain point, it got to be a 30-point lead. It's easy to kind of tune out. Like, I've been on that commentary team in hockey games when it's a blowout, and it's like, it's hard to just call the game straight up at that point because one team's getting it handed to them pretty good. But you guys did a really good job, and I always have fun on, the viewer doesn't get to see what we're seeing behind the scenes, but it's fun from a production standpoint. We got Neil out there for his first basketball game.
That was good.
You and Kevin on commentary. I mean, after setup, I pretty much was just, kind of watching the game for the most part. But one thing that I was struck by is it's nice to have that relationship with the school because, before the game we're talking to Brad, who does a lot of the video work there, and then even the athletic director, Mike Schley, came up. Mike, we had to move a banner because one of our sight lines was obscured, and, Mike helped with that. And I just wanted to note that I think Mike's doing a really good job. I mean, he came in, with a tough act to follow, and Tom DeSena for as long as he was in that position. And, Mike's been nothing but welcoming and helpful when we're at the events. So, yeah.
But I think that also helps when it's the expectation from the beginning, right? So we talked to Mr. Schley and say, hey, come on to the show. We want you to do this, and kind of letting them know we're a resource, that the cable station is a resource for him. We show your games. We want to talk about your kids, all the positive things that they're doing. So please let us help you make your job easier. So I'm glad that he caught that and he came in and did that. And then he was nice to us and hospitable when we got there. 30-point loss is tough.
Yeah.
Now, I think that what they have an opportunity to do, because if you look at it, to me, Lincoln Park did not have to continue to press as we got into the fourth quarter. So I think that for building purposes for that team, he could say, you know what? They kept their, for lack of a better word, sick their dogs on us this whole time. So, hey, next time we see them, we want to make sure we give them some of that back.
Right.
I thought the Sotheby kid and Mrs. Caroline Sotheby's grandson, I thought that he played really well. Obviously, he's the biggest guy that we have on Wyandotte's team, so he has to get the rebounds. He has to do some of the dirty work. But I think that he did a good job. He showed that he could be as athletic and he could block out and rebound with them. So I think that is going to be good for the future. They did lose on Thursday when we went to that game. The final score ended up being Lincoln Park 53, Wyandotte 24. But then they were tasked with playing the very next night against Monroe, and I can see that they did a lot better. They lost that game 53-41, but that's 41 is 17 more points than you scored. Obviously, there was it almost seemed like it was something sitting over the basket at sometimes when they were shooting because they weren't getting many shots in the basket. But to get 41 the next night, it seems like they're working on something, and it turned out.
They had a rough shooting night. And honestly, watching the game and having to edit it, sometimes I feel like I'm reliving it like 2 or 3 times. Lincoln Park at times didn't shoot the ball particularly well. They generated a lot more chances. But now you've coached basketball.
Sure.
So I wanted to ask you a couple questions. That full court press Lincoln Park was employing for most of the game, it was nasty. I mean, they were sticking to them like gum. So if you're a coach, what do you tell your team? How do you break that full court press?
It's going to be spacing, right? So you want to space the floor, whether it's going to be from the beginning. One, if you can stop them from making baskets, you can stop the press.
Sure.
Right.
They don't have
that's the
pinned
tricky
in.
part, right? But if you can get some defensive stops, then you can slow the press down. But the other thing you want to do, and I think that they did a decent job at times, is to spread the floor. I can recall them having 4 guys right in front, and then once you hit the ball, they break into the different directions that they're going to go. From the small sample size that I saw, I don't know if if they have a lot of ball handlers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once they got into foul trouble, it got dicey.
Right.
You know, but you want to spread the floor, stay away from the corners, stay away from the sidelines, try to get to the middle of the floor so you can break that press up. And then once you get across court, if you got a team that, you got to know your team, but if you got a team that's a little faster, then you're going to push fast break opportunities during that time. But if not, we want to just get set up into our offense after we break
Right.
it. But the main thing is to spread the floor, give yourself some spacing so they can't double team for no reason.
Now, my second question was, Wyandotte definitely seemed to be a perimeter team. And I mean, that's the issue. Like, if you're a perimeter team, you're going to live and die by the long ball. And you made a comment during the broadcast, like the Steph Curry effect on the game. Do you think are we at peak Steph Curry? Yeah, are kids going to start? Kids and coaches going to at the lower levels going to start saying, "Hey, maybe we've gone a little too crazy with all the 3-ball. We need to get back to pounding the paint, getting the ball down low."
Unfortunately for someone like me, no. I don't think we're at the peak of it. We're still in it. So I work at a rec center during the day even, and man, I see it every day. Kids don't practice 10-foot shots. They don't practice 5-foot shots. They practice 3-point shots. Even to the point, I would love to see the statistics on it, but I bet you Wyandotte didn't shoot 50% from the line.
Oh, yeah,
From the free throw line.
Oh, right.
So I'm saying that to say they're not practicing that per se. Maybe they are, you know, under the coach's tutelage. But when they're on their own, they're letting them go threes. You know. And I think that the day and time that we're in, as far as analytics in sports, something tells you that shooting a three-pointer, you can shoot 33% from the three-point line, and you can shoot 50% from the 2-point line, and those numbers are the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So more people are trying to put up threes. I'm old enough to see that Loyola Marymount, Bo Kimball, and Hank Gathers, who passed away on the basketball court, that Westfall was the coach. He used to coach the Lakers Showtime before that. Long story short, their whole thing was let's go down and shoot as many threes as we can. But then they ran into like a Michigan team that was going to play defense,
right,
and we were going to play regular basketball. We were going to shoot more 2s than 3s, and you showed that if you could have an off night, then you're done.
Right.
You know. So unfortunately, my answer is no. I think that we're going to see way more threes, and you can even see it in today's NBA.
Oh yeah.
Today's NBA is shoot threes.
Oh yeah.
You know? And we never saw that. I mean, Larry Bird's one of the greatest 3-point shooters that we saw, right? He's not even close to shooting how many 3-point shots he took in his career to what a Steph Curry or someone even that's 6'9" in his position has taken. You know, the game's changed.
And I wonder if we'll see going forward if is Steph Curry an anomaly, or are there going to be 3-ball shooters in the next generation and then the following who are coming close to those numbers where this is just the norm now?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, they're starting at a younger age.
Sure.
So now they're, been shooting those threes for however long. Steph Curry obviously had the advantage of his father being Del Curry, who was a great three-pointer shooter himself, a great shooter in general, because he could also bang 15, 18-footers, where Curry is just kind of, moved a notch even higher up while he's shooting the threes. But no, man, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good for us to get there and get an opportunity to see Wyandotte play. And I look forward to doing it again. I think that it's a good thing for the cable channel to offer, too, because now kids get a chance to see real time. Even if they don't want to sit in the film room with their coach, they can see what they did on the TV screen and how they played. So it was a good experience. Other basketball downriver would include Allen Park beating Edsel Ford 45-31. Woodhaven beat up on Southgate 63-25. We mentioned the Monroe beat Wyandotte 53-41. Carlton Airport lost to Lincoln Park 60-55 that next day. So Lincoln Park and Wyandotte played back-to-back that week. And then they got a bunch of action today, too, here on the 17th. Edsel Ford's playing Woodhaven. Crestwood's playing Allen Park. Carlson's playing Wyandotte. And then Lincoln Park's playing Trenton. And then you got Southgate at Taylor. So those standings could move around a little bit from last week. When we went to the game, they were actually playing for 4th place at the time. And that was weird to say because Lincoln Park was 4-1 going into that game, or 5-1 in the conference, and they were playing for 4th place. So there were some teams at the top that they got to see, certainly. On the 18th, Trenton plays Garden City. And then on the 19th, which is Thursday, you guys are going out there?
For the girls' game, yep.
You're going to the girls' game this time. Okay, so the boys are going to play on the 19th. Southgate plays Lincoln Park. Taylor plays Edsel Ford. And Trenton plays Carlson. And then Woodhaven plays Allen Park. So I think that it'll be we'll get a good indication of where we are in Downriver League once this week ends because you got a lot of good games coming up. Speaking of the girls, the Wyandotte girls have had a lot more luck than the boys, actually. The girls beat up on Lincoln Park 50-20 on the 12th. Allen Park beat Edsel Ford 49-26. Woodhaven beat Southgate 50-9. Wow.
That's a rough night.
That's a
You're
tough
on the losing
night.
end of that
yeah,
one.
Yeah. That was a tough game to call, right?
Yeah.
Carlson beat Monroe 51-42. Monroe St. Mary's beat Southgate 59-15. Saline beat Woodhaven's girls 54-41. And then for the ladies tonight, you got Allen Park at Crestwood, Woodhaven at Edsel Ford, Taylor at Southgate, Trenton plays Lincoln Park, and Wyandotte's playing Carlson. That game starts at 6. So hopefully they can stay on a winning streak. Right now it looks like they've won 3 in a row. So hopefully the girls can stay on task. And then when you guys go in there on Thursday, it'll be a 4-game winning streak, and they'll be going all the way to the Breslin Center.
Yeah, well, Kevin, for viewers who watched the last week's game, the boys varsity game, Kevin will be on commentary again. You won't be available this time, but I might get called into duty for that one.
No, that'll be fun.
We're going to have to call one sometime.
Definitely.
That'll be fun.
Definitely. I'll be the color. You'll be the play-to-play.
They might call us into one of the higher offices after that one and say, hey, I don't know what you fellas are doing, but better rein it in.
Yeah. No, I would love to, man. It was a great experience, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
It's always fun. Yeah. We got some hockey scores. So let's see. Recent hockey scores, January 11th, Wyandotte beat up on Cabrini. 6-4. All right, so a close one. And then on the 12th and 14th, Riverview, Gabriel Richard, and Carlson played a home and home.
Okay.
They both ended the same way. 7-0 skunkings by Riverview, Gabriel Richard.
Ooh.
Allen Park on that same date, January 14th, beat the Bears 5-1. That one was in Allen Park. And coming up actually today, 2 games on the slate today. Ann Arbor, Gabriel Richard taking on Wyandotte here at the Yak. And Carlson visiting Allen Park. January 19th, you've got Riverview, Gabriel Richard bringing their goal show to Allen Park. Then on the 21st, you've got a trio of games, Grozeal at Southgate, Plymouth at Wyandotte, and Trenton at Brother Rice. And we've got a note on here, the Plymouth at Wyandotte, starting early for some reason on the 21st, 5 p.m.
Okay.
And then rounding out that hockey schedule on January 24th, Cabrini taking on the Bears at the Yak.
And we mentioned it when athletic director Schley was here. The Wyandotte coach is saying is doing a bang-up job of playing all comers, kind of getting prepared for the tournament and getting that team ready. So it seems like, and we talked about short-handed. So those kids by the end of the season are going to be tough tough as nails.
Oh yeah, very conditioned.
Yeah, they're going to be well
That's
conditioned.
a lot of minutes. Was it you and I who were talking? We were talking about shifts in hockey.
Yeah,
recently?
you said that 59.
Well, you had said what was average shift in hockey 4 or 5 minutes. I was like, what? No, I mean average probably like in talking NHL, yeah, probably 40, 50 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's situations in which a star player, will be out there longer. Maybe on a power play or something. But yeah, quick shift. So running that short of a bench, those kids are getting a lot of ice time.
And they're hopping boards all day.
Yep.
No, that's good. So no, kudos to Wyandotte for playing a tough schedule and then for being warriors. I guess they're bears, but they're like warrior bears or something.
Well, yeah, and then they employ this philosophy, and as Coach is saying, it keeps the approach. I think within a couple of years, the program will be more robust. They won't be running such a short bench.
Yeah, and I think that it's feasible, just how the makeup of the community is. I mean, you see it with basketball, you see it with the football programs and the baseball programs. They got a feeder team.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if the hockey has feeder, but I know that they have the Yak. And the Yak is a good place to start.
Yeah.
You know, because now you're getting that open hockey and that open run. I know we advertised it last week, but you get your kids skating, get your kids used to the ice, and then by the time they get into the middle school, you never know, you might have a little Gretzky, or I guess to be politically correct, a little Iserman. You know,
That's right,
running
get
around
that local
here.
flavor.
Yeah, get that local.
Yeah, and for parents interested in you know, maybe if you don't know anything about hockey, skating is the fundamental of the game. If there's one thing you're going to teach your kid early, teach them the fundamentals of skating. That was one thing probably starting in the late 80s, early 90s, as European players began infiltrating the NHL. Maybe infiltrating is a bad word. The North American and Canadians, they had to rethink how they were training their prospects, because in Europe, the focus was all on, you don't touch a puck until you learn to skate. And we started to see in the late 80s, early 90s, guys like Jaromir Jagr, Sergei Fedorov, Pavel Bure. There's a reason when they came into the game, everyone was like, what was that blur of color that just passed me?
Yeah.
It's because that's what they did the first several years when they were learning to play hockey. It was a focus on skating. Yeah. There's a reason that the Americans and Canadian players, many of them did not want to see those European players come over in the NHL, because a lot of those guys lost their jobs because they were not up to snuff. And now we have a much better product 30-some years out because of that influence. So teach your kids how to skate.
No, and that's real. Even a novice hockey player or person like myself, I remember when the invasion came with Fedorov.
Oh, yeah.
And, like you said, even Datsuk and different guys that came over, they were just far superior skaters. And then you might have the one-off in Canada, like the Great One, or I'm trying to think of Crosby. Sidney Crosby, and different things like that, you know, but no, get them skating, and you have a top-notch facility right here in town, so it's easy to do. Now, grappling is a different, you know, type of sport.
Yeah, they'll call you for a penalty in that hockey.
Yeah. Now, there's parts of hockey where you used to be able to wrestle.
You could drop your gloves and fight and spend 5 minutes in the box.
But the wrestling in Downriver has been going pretty good for Wyandotte. We know on January 11th that they went, had to be, I want to say a quad, but it was at Edsel Ford, Allen Park, Southgate, Wyandotte, Edsel Ford were involved, and they had 3 top finishes in both divisions. So they had some wrestlers that did really well, and they came in 3rd place. And Coach Slay said that he was really excited about how they were doing it. So if you want to go see some of that action, my schedule doesn't go that far. I was trying to give you a far out date, but they battled Lincoln Park on this past Saturday. We didn't get those results yet, but let's get some wrestling out there. When we were there doing the basketball game, we got a chance to get a feel of the wrestling room.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
You know, and you could tell those kids work hard in there. And the other thing that they were getting ready for was baseball. You know, so
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of stuff over there.
And that's the other interesting thing about working on productions. We get there and like, we're sharing the space. We're in the school's gym, and we're setting up for our production. And behind us, you've got, I don't know, a dozen or so kids. They got wrestling mats out there. They're practicing the wrestling. And then as we're trying to wrap up, like break our equipment down, I literally had to tell Neil, I was like, watch out for this net coming down from the ceiling because they were setting up for batting practice.
Yeah. But I think that is cool that they utilize the school that way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they get an opportunity to do all of those sports in that space, in that time. Because those kids were coming back. I'm sure they went home eating.
Oh, yeah.
They hopefully done their homework, and then they coming back, and they're coming back in here, and they're about to get their sport in. You know, and that's great for kids that aren't playing multiple sports. You want to make sure that they're getting that work.
Yeah.
Because there's other people getting that work in. As soon as
yeah.
January comes, you know baseball's getting ready. The other news, competitive cheer. This past weekend, Wyandotte ladies were able to do competitive cheer against Allen Park, against Lincoln Park, Carlson and Trenton, and it looks like the Lady Bears came in second. They came in second place, so they did really well. Go competitive cheer. I'd love to get maybe not. Yeah, I'd love to see that too.
I think statistically, I believe that is the most dangerous high school sport, competitive cheer.
They're throwing them
All
up
the tosses and the muscle control that they have to have. Yeah, it's.
And you got to have some big cheerleaders somewhere that can do that, right? You got to have some strong, whether it's ladies or men, to get them up in the air. You know. But Joe, it's been a pleasure. I love when you sit in.
Me too. I hate when it's over.
Whether you're Joel or Odds or whatever it may be, I have a good time when you sit down and we talk about local sports. Make sure that you email us and let us know what your kid's doing. I know that Bowling has a game tonight, the Lady Bowlers.
Right.
And that coach, I'm sure he'll get us the information.
I'm sure he will. You know what? I got 2 of those past episodes of Local Sports uploaded to the YouTube channel, so if you happen to miss those, you can check those out. I'm helping an old man out.
That's good.
He took a little bit of offense to that last week.
Just a little. So thanks a lot. Happy 21st birthday again, Kayla, and we'll see you next week.